I'm continuing my reading of St. John's Gospel, and now I'm going to read chapter 2, A Sign at a Wedding, verses 1 to 11. 3 days later, there was a wedding in Cana, Galilee. The mother of Jesus was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. And when the wine ran out, Jesus' mother says to him, "All the wine has gone." Then Jesus says to her, "Lady, why is that my problem? My hour hasn't arrived yet." Jesus' mother says to the waiters, "Whatever he tells you, be sure to do it." Now there were 6 water jars standing nearby, used for Jewish purification rites, each able to handle 20 or 30 gallons. So Jesus says to the waiters, "Fill them with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he says to them, "Draw some of it and take it to the master of ceremonies." So they did. When the master of ceremonies tasted the wine which had become, when the master of ceremonies had tasted the water which had become wine, not knowing where it had come from, although the waiters were in the know, he beckons the bridegroom and says, "Everyone serves the best wine first, and then, when everybody's drunk, the inferior wine. But you've kept back the good wine until now." This, the first of Jesus' signs, was done in Cana, Galilee, and in this way he displayed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. Jesus in Capernaum and in Jerusalem, where he purges the temple, verses 12 to 25. Then after this, Jesus went down to Capernaum, together with his mother, brothers, and disciples, but only stayed there for a few days. As the Jewish Passover was approaching, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple, he came across people selling cattle, sheep, and pigeons, as well as money changers sitting at their tables. Jesus made a whip out of cords and drove them all out of the temple, including the sheep and cattle. And he scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. He addressed those selling pigeons, "Get these out of here. Stop making my Father's house a bazaar." Now his disciples remembered that it was written, "Zeal for my Father's house will utterly consume me." So the Jews shot back, "What sign can you show us to prove that you have a right to do all this?" Jesus replied, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I'll raise it up." The Jews said, "This temple has been in the throes of construction for 46 years. And are you seriously claiming that you can rebuild it in 3 days?" He was, in fact, speaking of the temple of his body. So when he had risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this, and they believed the scriptures and the words that Jesus had spoken. Now while Jesus was in Jerusalem, during Passover time, many put their trust in his name because they saw all the signs he was performing. But Jesus did not trust them because he knew only too well what was in their hearts. That's my reading of chapter 2 of St. John's Gospel, which is published by Matador and which you can find on